All right, friends, it's T, and I'm back with another video that Jason Blaha has made for us today to review. I love this guy, man. The lifting, gym, lifting, recruiting, lifting slave. I wonder what happened to client Michelle. She run away now? After she saw my videos, Blaha. I wonder what happened to her. Anyways, let's review this video by the lifting slave. Jason Blaha says training with strict form is the most logical approach. Well, I guess training with proper form is the logical approach. I don't know about strict form. Okay. Let's see what he says.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would do another video for you guys and gals. Let me get a sip of my water first.
Yes, it is you, Jason. It definitely is you.
A beautiful radio voice going. Let's talk about this. Forearms are on point today. Talk a little bit about.
Don't lie, man. Those forearms are small.
Cheat reps, ego lifting, strict form. I feel like this is something I'm going to need to talk a lot about.
Cheat reps, ego lifting, and strict form. Cheat reps, ego lifting, and strict form. Okay.
The reason I need to talk a lot about it is because, you know, there have been times where I advocated certain types of loose form, put a little English on stuff, a little bit of cheating on reps. Okay, this is stuff I've advocated over the years, and I've pointed out, but you know, plenty of really jacked guys have trained that way and got great results. But logically,
they trained that way and got great results. Yeah, some people do, some people don't. Everything works in the beginning until it stops working. So people might switch to cheat reps. They will try ego lifting. They'll try partial reps. They'll try anything because really it's instinctual. A lot of people, they follow their instincts, the smart ones in the gym. You know, they may not understand it or know what's going on there, but definitely their instincts are going to kick in and say, fuck, nothing's going on here. I'm doing the same exercises day in, day out. Nothing is going on. Why do you think Alex Leonidas does a lot of calisthenics? Not to say that bodybuilding is incorporated. Calisthenics is incorporated in bodybuilding. Doing dips and doing pull-ups is calisthenics. It's incorporated in bodybuilding. Look at everybody. They even put weights on around their waist doing dips. Is that bodybuilding? It's calisthenics, but it's incorporated in bodybuilding because bodybuilding incorporates everything. It incorporates calisthenics, it incorporates accessory, it incorporates the big four, it incorporates just about everything. Even every type of body weight exercise is incorporated. You can see a military guy online, he'll show you it's all bodybuilding. Really, it's all bodybuilding. Even turning over tires, doing a bunch of stuff, running, I don't know, on a treadmill or these bicycle. You're gonna say, well, that's cardio, but that's part of bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is everything.
it doesn't make sense, does it? When you look at it biomechanically, and I've even said, look, you know, this is why things like push presses work. But do push presses really work? Has anyone out there really got the most jacked shoulders for push presses? Is that really what you've seen give the best shoulder development?
Okay, here's the problem with that. I explain this. There is a type of metabolic stress, because some guy asked me, goes, well, if I damage muscles, won't it just repair and remodel bigger and stronger without eating, without eating that amount of food, eating so much food? Doesn't it do it automatically? No, not in muscle damage. In muscle damage, it doesn't do that. You'll get an apoptosis if you don't eat enough. Protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown in bodybuilding. But now, when it comes to a stress on the myofibular, let's say you're doing farmer walks, but you wouldn't do them that far anyways. Not with a heavy weight. You couldn't walk miles with farmer walks holding the weight. But now, think about this. Walking for miles nonstop, but carrying a heavy weight on your shoulders, like let's say 2 buckets of water on each side, 2 buckets, heavy buckets with a pole, and you're walking for like miles with it. Now that your body will adapt by causing stress on the cells, the myofibulars or the cells, and they will automatically get bigger. They will allocate what little food you're eating to make those cells bigger and stronger, because they have to, because the amount of stress that's happening to your body, it's just too much. Gravity and the weight and everything, it must make the cells expand. They must get bigger and stronger to accommodate for that weight, whatever it is you're carrying there. See what I mean? So yeah, I would say that in an exercise, or not exercise, in a type of you walking with a heavy weight for miles, day in and day out, carrying, whether it's carrying, you're in Africa, carrying these heavy buckets on your neck, on your head, and all the weight going down your neck and your body, it's going to have to give at some point. And that is not based on muscle damage. That is based on some metabolic stress on the myofibular, where it will allocate what little calories you're eating to those cells to grow them stronger, bigger and stronger. Now, in muscle damage, it's totally different. You're growing more cells, you're getting more cells through something called hyperplasia, and then they're hypertrophying. That's totally different. So you have a choice. You can put a heavy weight on your back and walk for miles every day to try to get these cells to explode. Get it through eating a really deficit calorie, you being in a calorie deficit. You can go ahead and do that. I'm not doing that. But I prefer muscle damage, because I could grow more muscle fibers. Through muscle damage, I can grow more muscle fibers, and a lot of it's permanent. So again, but people adapt. They get these newbie gains muscle damage in the beginning, but then they adapt. They don't understand the adaptation process when it comes to muscle damage. That isn't based on metabolic stress, you walking with a heavy weight on your back for miles up a hill. So yeah, it's totally different. The training regime, what you're trying to get, what type of muscle growth you're trying to get, is totally different. Yeah, I think Blaha, he probably doesn't even think about that. Doesn't even know that. Yeah, and the amount of damage that you get is different. There could be 3 stages. There could be minute damage where the body just says, fuck it. Then there's a second stage where it says, okay, there's a repair and a remodeling. And then there's a third stage where there's a repair and a remodeling, and additional fibers can be grown out of that massive amount of damage that that the body had accumulated at that time. What is it? Why does it do that? It is the protective effect of not getting damaged with a second repeated bout. How does it do that? By repairing and remodeling the muscle stronger, so it does not damage, so it does not build any more muscle. That is the difference between muscle damage and some dude, metabolic stress, some dude walking with a heavy weight on his back for whatever, 5 or 6, 7, 8 miles a day. Okay, man? And the food. In muscle damage, protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown, but in that metabolic stress, you walking with a heavy weight, it'll allocate what little calories you have to those cells to grow them.
Even cheat curls, or have plenty of best biceps and shoulders been done with fairly strict movements through long ranges of motion. I'm going to go with the latter. Okay, the logic I've always used.
He uses poor logic, because he shows you what is it, concentric and eccentric movements. I think he's going to show you this. Hold on.
Used was, look, if we're going to talk about eccentric overload, cheat reps, put a heavier eccentric load than you can normally lift. Use a little momentum on the concentric. Eccentric takes a heavier load. Man, it makes a lot of sense from an eccentric overload.
We know that eccentric is associated with what? Muscle damage. It's associated with micro injuries. Yes, that's what eccentric is associated with. Concentric is not associated with muscle damage.
But that's not what we need, is it really? Because it's not creating more tension on the muscle at any point. Not like the muscle's really getting more tension, because you're already going to be fatigued on the eccentric. If you did a controlled concentric rep, right? You come up. Sorry, I'm hitting the arms of my chair there. All right, we do a curl. You come back down. Do a curl. Come back down.
Okay, he's doing a full concentric. Think about it. If you're running up a stairwell, that is a concentric. That's concentric. That's going to fatigue the shit out of you. That's what it's going to do. But it's not going to cause any muscle damage. There won't be any muscle growth there, but it will fatigue you. Okay, when you're running downstairs, that's the eccentric movement going down the stairs. What's that going to do? Cause muscle damage. And then the body will repair and remodel the muscle stronger. See what I mean? There's a big difference. There's a big difference in exercising these movements.
Biceps kind of get maximum tension. And if you take that set to failure, assuming you're using a reasonable weight, and there's a point where I think where reps can get too high, I'm going to argue.
Here's the thing. The secondary shift in this adaptation is an influx of androgen receptors and motor units, a proliferation of them. That will make you better at lifting a heavy weight. You'll get these adaptations through progressive overload. People call it progressive overload. Will you get an adaptation in muscle growth? Not necessarily, no. The tension isn't long enough. Here's the thing. The tension, the mechanical stress on the myofibrillar isn't long enough. It isn't long enough. Here's another thing. If you're doing cable work, it is isokinetic. So isokinetic, eccentric, and there's concentric, but there's a lot of eccentric, concentric, and it's isokinetic. So there's more stress on the myofibrillar. There'd be more stress on the myofibrillar than there would be doing just, I guess you could say, no, I would say it's still isokinetic as long as you're not dropping the weight. It's not isokinetic when people drop weights or they stop. It's got to be, it's a constant motion. You're moving, like, I guess, dumbbells, barbells. You're doing these like, I don't know, but he was just doing now the biceps, the curls. Yeah, that would be isokinetic. As long as it doesn't stop, the tension is still there. But there's more tension when it comes to cables. Yeah.
That point. You're gonna get.
But there could be a lot of tension there as well with barbells. Heavy barbell rows for your back, for example. You're not putting the weight down. You're moving it up and down. So I would say that's isokinetic. Some people they stop in their exercise. That's isotonic.
Great tension on most of the muscle fibers. Definitely those upper threshold fibers as you start creating fatigue. Okay? Because that's what matters. It is about tension. We need to be clear on that. Hypertrophy comes from putting tension on individual muscle fibers. So when we talk about mechanical tension,
yeah, hypertrophy will hypertrophy will come from that. It'll come if you walk. The tension, this mechanical stress, it doesn't come from mechanical tension. He's wrong. It doesn't come from mechanical tension. It comes from mechanical stress if you were to walk with a heavy weight for miles. That's where hypertrophy comes from. Now, the hypertrophy that you get in the gym comes from hyperplasia. You understand me? I think people are confused with that. They don't understand this. Okay, I'll prove it to you, okay? So you understand. All right. This is from your popular nuclei acquired by overload exercise. Overload exercise precedes hypertrophy, not lost on detraining. This is NCBI, okay, man? Yeah. Library of Medicine. So this famous map, you scroll all the way down here. Here we go. That little map right there. All right. It says untrained muscle, first training. See that where it says fusion, the satellite cell? It says right there. It says fusion satellite cell. That is muscle damage, okay? And then hypertrophy. Then it hypertrophies. You understand me? First it hyperplasias and then it hypertrophies. I can prove this to you as well. If you go into my community section, and this just happens to be one report. There's so many of them. I'm not going to bring them all up, okay? So let me see. I don't know where I posted it. Somewhere over here. Here it is. Different modes of hypertrophy in skeletal muscle fibers. There are different modes in hypertrophy. So muscle hypertrophy is defined as an increase in the ratio of cytoplasm to nucleus, whereas hyperplasia is defined as nuclear division. That's what you saw there in that nuclei overload. It was depositing its myonuclei because the nuclei, they synthesize protein. Plus, it was repairing and remodeling the muscle bigger and stronger. Okay, so it's a nuclear division and an increase in the number of cells. That's how you further that domain in that particular exercise that you're doing at the gym. Do you understand me? So in contrast, hypertrophy of skeletal muscle is thought to involve an increase in the number of nuclei as well as an increase in cytoplasmic volume. Yeah, because hypertrophy of skeletal muscle therefore incorporates what? Part of the definition for what? Hyperplasia, in an increase in the number of nuclei. That's how you further that domain because it reached a MND size limit. As a further complication, the additional nuclei may come from internal nuclear division or fused satellite cells and their donated nuclei, thus evidence of DNA synthesis, a hallmark of hyperplasia. See that, dude? So you could look it up. It's in my community section. Want to see that? Here's another thing. And I will prove it. I always prove whatever I say because I can. Because I can prove whatever I say. And why is that? Why do you need that? Those nuclei? I'll tell you why you need hyperplasia. In your exercise, you need to shoot for hyperplasia. Hyperplasia. If you're working out in a gym, I'm not talking about people walking for miles with buckets of water. I'm talking for people that work out in gyms. Why do you need that? Because MND size has a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process beyond which extra myonuclei are donated by the satellite cell to support further muscle growth. You understand me? So what do you need? You need those nuclei, get it? You need hyperplasia. Without hyperplasia, and what is a sign of hyperplasia? What is a sign of that? It's really simple. You want to see what it is? Okay. That's what it is. So you see this advanced delayed onset soreness, part 1. All right. Delayed onset soreness is a type of what? Ultrastructural muscle injury. You need to injure these muscle fibers. If they're not injured, they will not donate their nuclei. And how do they get it? The manifestation of DOMS is caused by what? Eccentric or unfamiliar forms of exercise. So it's eccentric exercises that causes this damage, and unfamiliar forms cause it. You understand me? So in a gym, if you're familiar with your exercises, good luck trying to get that to come back, because it's the protective effect. It's under protection. Clinical signs include reduced force capacities, increased painful restriction of movement, stiffness, swelling, and a dysfunction of adjacent joints. Although DOMS is considered a mild type of injury, it is one of the most common reasons for compromised sportive performance. See that? So it's a known fact, bro. Look, although the exact physiological pathway remains unknown, the primary mechanism is currently considered to be the ultrastructural damage of what? Muscle cells due to what? Unfamiliar sporting activities, sports, or eccentric exercise, which leads to further protein degradation, apoptosis. See? Further protein degradation and apoptosis, a local inflammatory response. So what do you got to do? Protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown. How do you build muscles? How are muscles built? It's built like this. Skeletal muscles continually breaking down and synthesizing protein. If muscle is going to maintain its mass, net level zero protein balance must equal zero. But if muscle is going to gain mass, protein synthesis must exceed what? Breakdown. Broski, get it? You don't want an apoptosis. You don't want an apoptosis. You're now in an apoptotic state. Look, what I showed you here in delayed onset muscle soreness, when they tell you apoptosis, they're not joking, bro. If you get damaged muscles, there's further protein degradation. There's further protein degradation, and there's an apoptosis. So we want to fight the apoptosis and the degradation, because by protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown. So we need to eat shitloads of protein. Forget about this 32 grams or whatever. Eat as much protein as you can after a damaging session. Here's the thing. You should eat a lot of protein before you go for a damaging session, if that's what your goal is. If your goal is to be a lifting slave, then go to the gym and lift in an adapted state and be a slave, okay? This is for people that are lifting to try to get this damage, okay? So when you do get it, when you do go there, before you go there to do that session, you need to eat a lot of protein. And after you leave the gym, you need to eat shitloads of protein again, okay? To counteract the apoptosis and the further degradation of protein. That's it. It's really simple, man. I don't know if people understand that. Maybe they will, maybe they don't. I don't know. So yeah, it's not that complicated. Let's go back to Blaha here. Sorry about that.
Muscle fiber. So when we talk about mechanical tension, we don't mean the mechanical tension on the bicep, the whole bicep. We mean the mechanical tension on each individual fiber. The fibers that get loaded with mechanical tension and they get fatigued from it are the ones that grow.
If they get fatigued, they don't grow. Fatigue is associated with concentric exercise. Concentric is not associated with muscle damage.
If they have growth room left, keep in mind your slower twitch fiber.
Again, man, do I have to prove everything? Eccentric, i.e. shortening muscle contractions. Concentric muscle contractions do not cause exercise-induced muscle damage. All of you are going to the gym because you want to cause muscle damage. All right. Your problem is you're doing a lot of concentric exercises. They're not associated with damage. All right. But exercise-induced muscle damage is evident after isometric contractions at a long muscle length and eccentric muscle contractions even at low intensity. See that? So that's why you have to focus more on the shortening. Listen to what they say here. The shortening, eccentric shortening muscle contractions. If you're doing lengthened contractions to the top, that's fatiguing. That'll cause too much fatigue. You won't be able to go through your exercises. You go through them a lot better with eccentric to cause this damage. Isn't that the goal, to get them damaged, to grow them bigger and stronger? I thought that was the goal. But here's the problem. Here's another problem. The repeated bout effect phenomena. The advancements of, all right, this is NCBI. The repeated bout effect, protective effect against muscle damage from a single bout of eccentric exercise. See? We know that eccentric is associated everywhere you go in science. It just tells you about eccentric, never talks about concentric. Even here, they talk about eccentric. The repeated bout effect refers to the adaptation whereby, see, you get an adaptation. Eccentric is what gives you an adaptation. But what is this adaptation? Whereby a single bout of eccentric exercise protects against muscle damage from what? Subsequent eccentric bouts. What is the adaptation in a eccentric bout? It is the adaptation where the muscle repairs and remodels stronger. So it's adapted now. It's adapted so it doesn't get damaged with a repeated bout of exercise anymore. See what I mean? Well, the mechanism for this adaptation is poorly understood. It's not poorly understood. Okay, they're just telling you that. It's understood that it repairs and remodels stronger, so it doesn't get it's stronger from further assaults. I can't find it right now. I would find it. It's in another one of these reports. So how does it make it stronger? Well, they'll tell you. With respect to cellular adaptations, there is okay here. I'll scroll it up here. With respect to cellular adaptations, there is evidence of longitudinal addition of sarcomeres and adaptations in the inflammatory response following an initial bout of eccentric exercise. Addition of sarcomeres is thought to reduce the sarcomere strain during eccentric contractions, thereby avoiding sarcomere disruption. So you're getting a lot more of these. Okay, muscles. Inflammatory whatever. Adaptations are thought to limit the proliferation of damage that typically occurs in the days following eccentric exercise. And inclusion, significant advances, repeated bout effect, okay, whatever. So it makes your muscles a lot stronger. Hold on a second. I don't know if they would mention it in this one. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. All right. So this one is exercise-induced muscle damage, potential mechanisms for repeated bout effect. So, although interactions of various neural, connective tissue, cellular factors are dependent on the eccentric exercise bout, muscle groups. Connective tissue and cellular adaptations are unlikely explanations when the repeated bout effect is demonstrated prior to full memory. Yeah, they don't talk about it in this one. There's some increase in motor units, a whole bunch of stuff, okay? They always tell you here at the top, unfamiliar, predominant eccentric exercise frequently results in what? Muscle damage. Unfamiliar. So you need to do what in the gym? You need to do unfamiliar things to get what? This muscle damage. Why do they tell you, they never say familiar exercises, they say unfamiliar, predominantly eccentric exercise frequently results in what? In muscle damage. See what I mean? Without damage, you're not growing any muscles. You just are wasting your time with these concentric movements. They're worthless. They're worthless. They're good for showing off. You know, you can push the weight far up as high as you can, but they'll never make you bigger and stronger. See what I mean? You'll always be a small, strong guy lifting a heavy weight against eccentric movements. You're basically trying to get better at pushing a weight against eccentric, but you're not getting enough of these eccentric to build your body bigger and stronger.
I would max out real fast for you early on in training.
Sorry, hold on a second.
So when you start to get more advanced, it's obviously the deeper fibers are the only ones that actually...
No, as you get more advanced, the deeper muscle fibers, no, that still works the way it works, Blaha.
That's what defines an advanced lifter.
No, they don't grow just because you're an advanced lifter. I'm an advanced lifter. I grew to 285 naturally. I don't know anybody in the gym that ever grew to 285 like me. Okay? I don't know anybody that did that. They kept looking over at me, peeking over at me, watching me just get bigger and bigger, because I moved for proper proper development. I didn't stay there like a lifting gym slave. Get it? Adapted.
All the intermediate fibers probably aren't growing much anymore.
Okay. If he knows all the secret to all these fibers growing and everything, then why can't he do it himself? Why can't Blaha do it himself?
Make slow gains. So sets to get those fibers or would do it. The cheat reps really work more fibers than the muscle? No.
No, but a cheat rep would be something that you're unfamiliar with, right? Your muscle would be unfamiliar with it, but it'll rapidly adapt. So these cheat reps won't work anymore. They don't work anymore. So you can cheat as much as you want. That's the problem with a lot of people. It is instinctual. I know why people are doing these movements. They're all doing these weird movements, this, that, because they're trying to eke out new adaptations, but they don't understand it's based on the adaptation is based on something you're doing you're unfamiliar with, or you're resensitizing that makes you come back, you're still unfamiliar. You try and trick the muscle and think it's untrained or unfamiliar or unaccustomed to doing these exercises. That's the whole point. We're not walking with buckets of water for miles in a gym. We're moving for muscle damage. That's totally different.
Can they potentially work them? Yeah, if you do them to failure, sure. Sure. I mean, and plenty of people got jacked up.
No, if you work them to failure, they're adapted. They've adapted to all these things. You may get a minute amount of damage there if you work them to failure previously, but it will rapidly adapt to that failure, and it'll never work again. Never work again, ever.
Wait, but that's also the people with oftentimes the high injuries. Ronnie Coleman comes to mind. Did a lot of cheat reps for his back, ended up with all sorts of back problems. Does anyone think he really would have built an inferior back had he just done stricter? No. As hard as he trained with his genetics, the way that he trained everything else, he would...
Yes, the way he trained injecting these plant genetics in his body, yeah, I would guess so. Yeah, he destroyed himself.
Would have still had the Mr. Olympia back, irrespective of that, even if he had gone stricter.
You mean he would have this fake plant genetic injection, DNA, whatever back? Would he have it after he stopped the injections of the plant genetics? No, he wouldn't. That's why he looks like dog shit right now. Without plant genetics, he looks like shit. He looks like a weak, small, inferior puppet.
Are you serious about growing on Instagram or what? I see you watching my YouTube.
The cheat reps, all they do is put you at higher risk of overuse, higher risk of injury. Sorry, my shoulders itching.
Do they put you in higher risk of injury? It's a possibility. You don't really need them. You don't need cheat reps, but I know why people are doing cheat reps, because, again, it's instinctual. They're trying to get more of this damage, but it's never coming back. And then when they get damage, they associate it with something bad. They go, I got DOMS. They don't even know what to do with this DOMS. They don't understand that when you get DOMS, you're in an apoptosis. You're in a very high, how should I put it? High degradation of protein. Very high. And there's an apoptosis there right now because the T cells come out. They're starting to clean up the dead tissue. So you need to replace that dead tissue with new, bigger, more tissue. You understand me? That's how it does it. And protein synthesis needs to see this breakdown, bro. Otherwise, you're fucked.
Higher use of injuries. That's it. We need to be clear. That's what they do. They don't give you a benefit. And I get it. People are like, well, I'm in my zone. It gives me aggression. It helps me. But does aggression recruit muscle fibers? No. That's nonsense. You don't have to be psyched up. To get to the deepest fibers in a muscle, you do not have to be psyched up. You're having to be psyched up and be in your zone in the pre-workout because you're doing big, crazy cheat reps.
To get to the deeper muscle fibers, you just have to lift heavier. But here's the thing. What type of muscle fibers are you trying to get to by lifting heavier? You're trying to get to the weaker muscle fibers, and then they get micro injured, and then they repair bigger and stronger, and now they're resilient from further assaults. You understand me? That's how you get stronger. You get bigger and stronger when you damage the weaker muscle fibers. They repair and remodel, and then you get bigger and stronger with every bout. But if your bout is if you're adapted to the bout, then you're not getting bigger, you're not getting stronger. What you're getting is a proliferation of motor units and androgen receptors now. They're giving you a false sense of strength. It's false because it isn't based on physical strength. It's based on chemical and motor unit. It's based on chemical strength. That's why people are always complaining when they leave the gym. They can't figure out, well, today I could squat 500, or yesterday I could squat 500, but today I could barely do 250. Me, when I was at 285, I never had that problem. I could always come off the street into a gym at 285 pounds and squat 500-600 pounds easy. You understand me? I could bench 400 or 500 pounds easy. I didn't have to practice at doing it because it's based on physical, natural strength. It isn't based on chemical strength where you get the little strong guy who thinks he's stronger than the big strong guy. Get it? It's better to be a big strong guy than a little strong guy. Get it? Running around trying to pretend that he's strong.
It required you to lift a lot of weight and to really get psyched up. You could have just come in and done a fucking curl. Sorry, I had to drop the F-bomb. You could have just come in and just curled to failure. You don't have to have it. Not even a factor.
Look, why do you think when people inject steroids right away, they inject these plant genetic steroids like Blaha, and they're able to lift a heavy weight? It's chemical strength. It binds with the receptor, giving you force production, maximum force production. Yeah.
Hey, it's because people can
It wasn't based on muscular strength.
convince themselves, I have to do this. I can't train hard if I'm not psyched up. I can't train hard without my pre-workout. I can't train hard if I don't have five-finger death punch playing in full volume. Really? You telling me you can't walk in and focus on a muscle and reach muscle failure in a completely silent room with no caffeine, no stems? Tell me you can't do that? Are you serious? No, you convinced yourself of it. Well, I gotta do this ego lifting. Not doing yourself any favors. And again, I am having to admit, I've done a lot. I've even been looking at some of the stuff I've done, recently. I'm like, man, even my upright rows, I really shouldn't be doing those partials. I can justify it all I want because I want to lift a heavier weight. And I'm still getting the lengthened position, so it's okay.
See, he wants to go to the gym to lift a heavier weight. He doesn't want to go to the gym to get bigger and stronger and the weights feel lighter. He wants to go to the gym to lift a heavy weight. That's like a lot of people. They start going to the gym. They get discouraged because they don't know how to build muscle. So then they just go there to lift a heavy weight.
No, it's in a lengthened position partial. Wouldn't it be a lot better if I just reduced?
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, lift a heavy weight. But you should get bigger and stronger. You should focus more on trying to get bigger and stronger because you're going to suffer from sarcopenia like your coach, your Blaha, as you get older. And you may live to 60, 70, 80 years of age. I don't know how old. And believe me, you don't want to be a frail little old man with a cane, do you?
Wait, and I'm going to have to do that. This coming shoulder day, I'm going to do that. Again, realizing I have been guilty of this myself. And I still am sometimes. None of us are perfect. You know what? I probably need to reduce the weight and bring that weight up as high as I can. Probably would be a good idea. You know what? I'll probably get better results for it. Shoulders will probably get bigger. It's like you guys see me doing on curls, but you see me doing on curls all the way up.
They won't get bigger if you bring the weight all the way up, Blaha, because muscle damage in the gym, you're damaging muscles. That training is reserved for muscle damage. So muscle damage is not associated with concentric movements. So you're not going to get physically bigger and stronger. You're just going to get better at lifting weights. You're going to get better at lifting a heavy weight. That's it. That's what you're going to get.
all the way down, strict control of that barbell. Okay? Until they reach muscle failure. Doing that full range of motion. Or at least, we do the range of motion that we are capable of doing. Whatever our joints will allow. Okay? Because obviously you can't go further than that. But if your joints will allow it without pain, you should probably be doing that. We probably make better gains. Do everything strict. Don't cheat. Try to do good, solid, long ranges of motion. This is same lifting. That's not about training hard. Training hard would be, hey, can I really push these sets out? Training hard is burning. I think I can do 2 more clean reps. I think I can do them. I'm going to push through. Oh, the weight stopped moving. I failed. Let's train to stop in the middle and drop. Okay. That's training hard. Not about can I flop around, get the weight up through any means necessary. I'll see people say that. Well, at least they got it up. Did the muscles get it up? If they're trying to work, there's no point to it. Is our goal to get the weight up, or is our goal to get bigger and stronger? You got to think about it. Which is more important?
See, there you go. Is it to get the weight up, or is your goal to get bigger and stronger?
To you, I have to realize my ability to lift a heavier weight on a non-contested lift that nobody cares about.
Yeah, man. Nobody cares about your lifts, bro. Are you lifting to get better at lifting a heavy weight, or are you lifting to get bigger and stronger? Blaha just said it right there. Took the words out of my mouth.
It's probably less important than using that lift to get bigger, stronger muscles and to have lower risk of injury. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
See, he even admitted it in the end of his video. I think he's starting to understand that you could get just good at lifting a heavy weight, which nobody cares about, or you could get bigger and stronger physically, and those weights are going to feel light. But people don't understand that, because they can't build their body, because there are so many things that are working against you. It's based on an adaptation system, but you're too dumb to understand that. The people that are out there, they're too stupid to understand that muscle damage is based on an adaptation system. And this mechanical shit too. I guess, metabolic stress, you walking with a heavy weight for miles, is not based on that. It's an adaptation, definitely, but it's different. It's different. It's not the same as muscle damage. Metabolic stress and muscle damage, they're not the same. You walking with a heavy weight for miles, or you doing eccentric, concentric movements to cause muscle damage. Yeah, man. I'll see you in the next one. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Was it informative? I suppose somewhat it was, but I don't know. You let me know, man. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.